All right, my name's Yolanda Baruch. I'm with Your Voice Media. All right, so this movie was really different and fun in a way, but it was very serious and it showed you some very serious themes. But
Yeah.
there was one thing that with your character uh, of not being able to speak the language of her people. Can you relate to being an outsider like your character?
Um, yes, but I also have to acknowledge, for me personally, I don't think I've experienced as much ostracization,
Mhm.
ostracized,
Yeah.
being ostracized, as much as I think like other Latinos have to, and that's because I have, the privilege of being a light skinned Latina, the privilege of not having an accent. Um, and up until recently, it wasn't very cool to speak Spanish,
Right.
right? So, like, um, yeah, there definitely has been moments, or there have been moments where I'm just kind of like hit with this like very daunting reality that some people see Latinos as like second class citizens. Some
Mhm.
people want to completely like remove the culture, and there's this like enforcement of assimilating entirely to American values.
Right.
And um, I mean, I definitely think that there is a layer of that being a Mexican American, but I also grew up in a border town. I grew up in a very like safe space for a Latino
Mhm.
because you could speak all the Spanish you wanted.
Mhm.
Um, and that's not to say there aren't like micro racist things that happen there as well, but the culture is extremely Latino. You know,
Right.
we have all we're known for is our great Mexican food. Like everyone is Mexican American of some sort. Our white people are very Mexican, like they've assimilated to us.
Mhm.
So I don't think I personally had to deal with a lot of that outsiderness that maybe other Latinos had to if they, for example, lived in like um, middle America, or if, I mean, even if they lived in, for example, like Atlanta. I remember when I first moved to Atlanta, it's a predominantly like black and white community, depending on where you're at.
Mhm.
And not many people really knew the culture that I had grown up in. Like no one knew what a quinceañera was. And I was like, really? But
Mhm.
so it varies. I mean, I think I relate to the idea of it because I have had experiences in college, or when I moved to certain places where people aren't aware of things that to me were just like commonplace where I grew up. But overall, yeah, I definitely wouldn't say that I've felt ostracized. I don't know. There has to be like a balance of
Mhm.
acknowledgement on both sides.
Right. How important was it to you to see the story framed around immigrants, migrant farmers, the indigenous community? How impactful was that for you to be a part of this project?
Yeah, I mean, I love any story that's going to tell an accurate portrayal of Latinos and their experience. But um, I do think that the narrative that like Latinos um, still experience, or only have this like story to tell of immigration, of being poor farm workers, um, isn't true for all, right? Like I think that is just like one really important story that needs to be shared, and something that I relate to because I grew up in one of the poorest cities in the country. I'm from a border town. Farm
Mm.
workers and the exploitation of farm workers still exists in my community. But like I said, depending on where you live, like that's not the story that you had.
Right.
There's a ton of Latinos who don't speak any Spanish. Um, and I think those stories are equally as important. So I'm excited for any type of of TV or film that's going to kind of like address and expand the idea of what it means to be Latino, especially in America.
Mhm. Um, what is in this movie? There was always characters telling you to protect yourself, protect yourself from this curse, what do you use for protection when you're dealing with the variables that happen in this life that can come off as dangerous or whatnot? How do you protect yourself?
In real life,
Yes.
I mean, I have a very solid familial foundation. I think I know physically my parents can't protect me, but there is a lot of emotional protection that I think I have as far as I mean, even like working as an actor, there's some really fucked up shit that you have to deal with.
Right.
Or that you're exposed to, whatever the lifestyle is. And I mean, I definitely think that I like look to my close family and friends for protection. Physically, I'm good. I got it. But I also think, there is like a spiritual component as well, a
Yeah.
familial component. I have a great partner. So yeah, I mean, I don't think I practice any sort of like religious rituals or some sort of like brujeria. I'm always fascinated by these things, and I think that, and I mean, I was just telling one of the other interviewers that I remember when I was a kid, my grandma, to like remove these nightmares that I had, did some sort of ritual, and we still do the egg thing, but like I myself don't really practice that. A lot
Okay.
of it is grounded on just like having solid people in my life.
Well, thank you for the time to interview. Thank you very
Thank
much.
you. All right. Bye, Yolanda.
Bye bye.